All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers in tonight's video. We just heard from Russell Wilson that the starters will be playing in your final preseason game. Everyone's freaking out. People are absolutely losing their GD minds, folks. One of you guys put up one of my Pittsburgh Steelers hype videos from this past offseason saying like the Steelers are, going to break the NFL, or the NFL's scared of the Steelers. And this freaking video got like 4 million views on Instagram. We were getting flamed on it. Folks, the Pittsburgh Steelers struggling in 2 preseason football games. If you want to know why that happened, I will tell you. The offensive line. It's the offensive line. Troy Fautanu was injured. You were ripping Herbig at the starting center position. He unfortunately did get injured. We never want a guy going on injury, but Nate Herbig is officially on the injured reserve with a shoulder injury. So that means Zach Frazier will be the week 1 starting center. Broderick Jones is playing in a freaking cast on the wrong side of the offensive line because Troy Fautanu's injured. Folks, this 2 first preseason games is not indicative to how the Pittsburgh Steelers regular season will go in any way, shape, or form. Folks, I was so upset. That Instagram post was so funny about me. Everyone was flaming me in the comments section. I went back and I watched their 3 preseason football games from last season, but specifically the first teamers, because you went 6 for 6, 5 for 5 in touchdown drives with the first team offense. Kenny Pickett, who can't even throw 1 touchdown per every 2 freaking games, whipped a 67-yard touchdown pass to Calvin Austin III in the 3rd preseason game. Kenny Pickett threw literally 4 incompletions, and he played 5 or 6 drives. Kenny Pickett sucked. All right, but before we get any further into this rant Steelers video, I hope you guys enjoy it. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. We post a ton of Steelers videos on this channel, so we could try and get it to 200 likes. That would mean the absolute world to me. Folks, I'm telling you, man, go back and watch your 3 preseason football games last year. The Pittsburgh Steelers literally looked with that defense like you were about to go 14-3 and be not only one of the best teams in your division or your conference, but in the entire National Football League. Preseason's a preseason for a reason. It doesn't matter at frickin' all. Now, maybe for a couple of players, like Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, some of these rookies, we want to see how Troy Fautanu and Zach Frazier and Roman Wilson and Peyton Wilson, we want to see how these youngsters are doing. We want to see guys entering their 2nd and 3rd season who are on the roster bubble. We want to see if the training camp hype or lack thereof translates into the preseason. But it's not really an outcome game. It's not even really a statistical game. What you're looking for is the small little nuances, because you're trying to cut your roster basically in half, and it's not an easy job. Now, the Steelers lost 9-3 to the Buffalo Bills last Saturday afternoon or Saturday night. Neither quarterback, Russell Wilson nor Justin Fields, had any time to throw the football. Now, Justin Fields is one of the best rushing QBs in the National Football League, so obviously he is going to perform better. But I guarantee you, I know nobody wants to go back and watch all 22 tape preseason football, but I guarantee you it was the offensive line. I guarantee you, folks, the 2 quarterbacks faced 13 pressures. They were sacked a combined 4 times. This is according to PFF. Wilson especially was getting just mauled. He had 3 sacks in his first 3 series. How are you supposed to score points, whether it's preseason, the regular season, or the postseason, if you're getting sacked every single drive? You're not going to have any success at all. Russell Wilson post-game said, "Our offensive line, we're young but talented. That's a great thing to have." Folks, Broderick Jones was literally playing in a freaking cast. Yes, the Buffalo Bills edge rushers are going to demolish him. Now, I will say this. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields have issues with, I don't even really want to say decisiveness. I think Justin Fields has that issue more so. Both of them take too many sacks. Russell Wilson the last 2 years, 100 sacks. Justin Fields the last 2 years, 99 sacks. A little bit different for Justin because he's a rushing, more mobile quarterback. He likes to scramble. He likes to try to extend plays. And then he also gets sacked a lot. Um, so I will admit, both of those are reasonable concerns to have. Is just their sacks. I heard I heard an offensive coordinator the other day on a sports show saying Russell Wilson was at fault for most of his Broncos sacks last year. I think he got sacked 55 times in Denver last year. But then I want to use a good game from the Denver Broncos as a good example, or a case study, I should say. The Denver Broncos in their first 6 weeks of the regular season were 1-5. They had a crazy fourth or second half comeback, specifically the fourth quarter against the Chicago Bears. Otherwise, they would have started the season 0-6. And then they rattle off big time victories against the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills. They're taking down playoff teams. They won 5 straight football games, and they were sitting here at like 7-7, and Sean Payton, or 8-7, one of those, 7-7, 8-8, something like that. And Sean Payton's like, you're done. You're not coming back next year, so why the hell are we going to play you? So they run Jarrett Stidham for the last couple of games of the season. But I want to use the 70-20 loss against the Miami Dolphins as a great case study because, folks, Russell Wilson got flacked so much for the failures of Denver. And I won't say he wasn't alone, or I won't say it wasn't necessarily, like, he's not the sole reason the Broncos struggled out of the gate last year. I think we can all look back, hindsight 2020, and realize Sean Payton and Russell Wilson probably were never going to work. But you go back to like the third game of the season, the Denver Broncos travel to Miami and they lose 70-20. Russell Wilson actually has not a good game, but he does enough. 23 of 38, 306 yards, touchdown and an interception. Folks, the Broncos defense gave up 350 rushing yards in that football game. They gave up 720 total yards of defense to the Miami Dolphins. I'm not saying Russell Wilson is a perfect quarterback. I'm not saying Justin Fields is a perfect quarterback, but I'm just saying give these cats some breaks. Once again, preseason last year, final game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kenny Pickett, 6 of 7 for 70 yards and a touchdown, including a 67-yard touchdown to Calvin freaking Austin. All right. So I'm just saying, obviously, it's preseason. You take everything with a grain of salt. Pat Freiermuth's not fretting. Russell Wilson's not fretting. Justin Fields is not fretting. And I'll continue to say this. My only concern is the locker room, because let's say the Pittsburgh Steelers go on a 2-game losing streak. Let's say they lose the opening game like you did to San Francisco last year, 30-6. There will be conversations within the locker room that could pose problems. So if Russell Wilson wins this starting job, you have to win the first football game. Folks, the Pittsburgh Steelers were a freaking mess offensively last year until the final 3 weeks of the regular season when your third-string quarterback, Mason Rudolph, stepped in. You were still 7-4 when Kenny Pickett got injured. Kenny Pickett, you're 7-4. This is one of, if not the best defense in the National Football League. Now you draft Roman Wilson. You still have George Pickens. Jalen Ward's going to be back healthy eventually. Things are just freaking fine for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Put it in pen. I'm doubling down. The Steelers will easily make the playoffs. I don't care what division you're in. I don't care how Cincinnati's looking, how Baltimore's looking, how Cleveland's looking. The Pittsburgh Steelers are making the freaking playoffs, and they're winning 10 games. Hold me accountable to it. I'm a freaking Packers fan. There's no skin off my back if you guys suck this upcoming season. You haven't won a playoff game in 6 years. It's showtime, baby. It's showtime. Have some hope. Have some faith. Have some trust in your organization and your starting quarterbacks, potentially. All right? Sorry to get aggressive. That's it for me. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Guys, let's be positive. Give me a prediction for the win-loss record for the Pittsburgh Steelers down below. That's it from me. Peace, man.